when I started my YouTube channel, before that, when I got my Facebook account, I would see these guys posting videos, talking in their car. I swore I would never. This is Audioinreviews. What am I gonna do here? We'll start with the Odin. Okay. All right. I'm parked out in front of my office right now. I have to go to work here in a little bit. I've been trying to do a video on the Empire Ears Hero and Odin. I have these as part of the Audio Tears Empire Ears tour. I get these for about 1 week, and then I have to ship them off to the next reviewer. And I knew going into this week, I wasn't even sure if I was going to do it at all, because I knew this week was going to be pretty nuts. I've got graduations like everybody else. I know you guys are all probably in the same boat. Between work, graduations, I'm also planning a birthday party with my wife for my daughter, she's graduating tonight. She's turning 18 tomorrow. So we've got just a lot of stuff going on, not to mention other things that were already going on. So it's been a pretty interesting last couple of weeks, to say the least. So, and I knew that kind of going into this, that it was going to be tough trying to fit time in for these. So because of all the stuff going on in my life, because of the limited amount of time that I have with these IEMs, I kind of had to choose which one I wanted to spend more time with, because I just didn't have a ton of listening time and or video shooting time. So that's why I'm in the car right now. So I chose to spend most of my time with the Empire Ears Odin. I'm trying to get some close-up shots, but the camera keeps wanting to focus on me, but I want you to see that faceplate, because that's just beautiful. And here is the faceplate of the Hero. And I actually spent a little bit of time shooting some video in my backyard the last 2 days. I actually set my camera up, set my mic up, and maybe I'll throw some of the shots in here just for fun, just so you guys don't have to stare at me in the car the whole time. But I actually made a very valiant attempt to do a full-on review video of the Odin, and then also I was going to do some comparisons with the Hero. So I had prepared some notes. I was all ready to do the video review. I started shooting a couple of days ago, and I was having battery issues with my camera. Tried to shoot a video yesterday in my backyard, and I was having other issues with the microphone. And then I just ran out of time, so I couldn't do it. I didn't set enough time aside to do it like I should have. So here I am in my car, trying to do this at the last minute. So that's where I am right now. So if I had, in a nutshell, if I had to describe this period of time that I had with the Odin, I would kind of liken it as unto finding your perfect vacation spot and not wanting to leave. That's what this experience was like. You know, most vacations, after 5 days, 4 days, depending on where you are, if you're in a really beautiful area, sometimes, you're good for 6 days, but even then you're like ready to go home. There's nothing like your own bed, your own space. So even though you've been in this beautiful area, you're still ready to go home. But then, like for me, I've had vacations where I'm in an area that's so amazing, so interesting, so beautiful, that I'm not quite ready to go home yet. But So that's kind of my experience with the Odin. This is one of those places you go, these spaces when you put this into your ear and you start listening to music, it's like paradise. You don't want to leave. You don't want to go home. You want to just kind of stay there. I would even say it's almost like, because this is $3,350. So, I don't know if a lot of those places you go and visit, they're beautiful, but I don't know if I could afford to live there. This one, I don't know if I could afford to live here. But you know what? I would almost be willing to sell everything just to keep this. That's how good this is. And this one's, I think, $1,500 or $1,350 roughly. I'm not sure. I got to double check my prices on this. But the experience with the Odin, again, it's one of those things where you don't want to leave. And again, you're almost to the point where I just might sell everything and move there. So this was a really, really amazing experience. So to dive a little deeper, as far as the actual sound of the Odin, one of the things I noticed right away was this thing, and I talked about this in my Dunu Zen review, is this IEM's ability to engage and immerse the listener. That was one thing I noticed right away, is its immersive sound. And when I say immersive, I don't just mean it's the dimension, soundstage, and imaging. That is all amazing on this, and I will talk about that in a minute. But it was more than that. It wasn't just the dimension. It wasn't just the imaging and soundstage. It wasn't just the depth and the width. There was, and again, like the Zen, and I think it might be something. The Zen's a single dynamic driver IEM, and that's one thing about dynamic drivers that have always appealed to me, is the thickness of the sound on a good dynamic driver, the punch, the slam, the texture, the weight of the notes. That is something that really appeals to me, and I know it appeals to a lot of you guys. You got the electrostatic tweeters, the 4 electrostatic tweeters for the highs, the 5 BAs for the mids, and the dual Weapon 9 Plus dynamic drivers. So these are the Weapon 9 Plus. These are the newer variant of the Weapon 9. So the Legend X had the Weapon 9 dynamic driver. So this is the Plus. So this is a newer it's an updated version of that. So again, going back to the engaging qualities and the immersive qualities of this, there's something about the weight of the notes and just the density of the weight of the notes, but also in the soundstage itself, there's a density to the instruments, a density to each instrument has a physicality. Voices have this realism and physicality, almost unlike anything I've ever heard in any other IEM. So there's that weight, that physicality, the actual density to those notes. But again, so that was the thing that struck me right away. That was like really, it just kind of caught me off guard and blew me away instantly. And so then you add in the layering, the instrument separation, and it's almost as though there is space, not that there's empty space in the sound field at all, but almost, but in a good way. There's this space, defined space in between each note, in between each instrument, in between every sound. It's really something, again, it's hard to describe because I hadn't experienced it to this level before. So the soundstage is not the widest. It is, I would say it's above average. So it's not like intimate at all, and it's not even average. It's above average. It's a pretty wide soundstage. The depth is and here's another thing that's kind of confusing. It's in some parts of the tuning, there in some instruments they seem a little further away, and there is this peak that right between 1.5K and 3K, where you've got this hump. So, and normally what that would do is push things forward, push vocals forward, push some instruments forward. It doesn't really do that. It doesn't do what I was expecting it to do. So, so there's still a good amount of space between the listener and the vocals or the lead instrument. So that was a little bit of a wonky thing. When I saw the tuning, when I saw the graph, I was like, I wonder what that's going to sound like. I wonder how that's going to affect the vocals, if that's going to push vocals and instruments forward. There's still, somehow, they've managed in the tuning of the Odin to create this very almost, again, immersive experience that is next level. It's incredible. Now, as far as the tuning of the Odin, I like the tuning a lot. The bass levels are right where I think they should be. When you're listening to it, what's interesting about the bass, when you're listening to it, it almost sounds like it's like the bass is elevated, but it's not. It's I think it's not so much the levels of the bass as it is the engaging, the slam, the punch, and again the texture and layering. There's texture and layering and detail in these Weapon 9 Plus dynamic drivers that I've never heard before on anything. It's stunning. It is absolutely outstanding. These newer drivers are just incredible. It's something you almost have to experience to understand. There were some tracks I was listening to, the Yoshi Hirakawa. There's a new album, I can't think of the name of it, GGP RMX. I think it's maybe a collaboration with Gogo Penguin and Yoshi Hirakawa. And the first two songs are outstanding, out of this world, recorded really well. And there's some bass in there that is just nuts, nuts. Not that it's a lot of, not necessarily quantity of bass, but the way the bass player had his bass tuned just sounds amazing. And the detail in that bass is next level. Again, it's like nothing I've ever heard before. So now, as far as the mids, the mids are perfect. Again, it does start to decline when you're coming out of the mid bass into the lower mids. It again, like most curves, it kind of starts to come down a little bit, and then you have a dip in the mids. They're not, I think they're right at, again, the mids are right where I would want them, to be honest with you. The tuning of this overall throughout the frequency response is incredible. So as you're moving out of the mids into the upper mids, that's where you start to see that hump I was talking about, that 1.5K to 3K, where it actually, there's a hump right there, and it pushes those frequencies forward, which is a little interesting. And then once you come out of the upper mids into the lower treble, it starts to come down a little bit. And I think you have a peak at like 4.5K, then a dip at 5K. Then it comes up a little bit around, was it 6 or 7? And I'm going by memory here, guys. And then the treble starts to kind of decline after that point. So if you look at the graph, it almost looks like there would be treble roll off, or at least not a whole lot of treble and upper treble present. But there's I don't know, again, it's magic. There is treble for days, and I mean not just in not the level of treble, but just it's present. There's upper, there's air, there's sparkle. The cymbals sound so incredibly detailed. Again, air in live recordings, just the space, again, sparkle, and again, you don't have the widest soundstage. Again, it is above average, but it's appropriate, and it's almost like The soundstage, think of it more of as a sound field, more of a 360 degree type thing. So again, immersive and engaging is what I keep kind of going back to. Those are the attributes of this IEM, I think, that struck me more than anything. And we're all going to have our own experiences. I understand that. But that was the most impressive aspect of this IEM, is once you put it in your ear and start listening to music, you don't want to take it out. It, again, immerses you. Every genre, every song I listened to, this thing was able to just pull, I mean, literally, utterly dissect the amount of detail and clarity and just the overall technical capabilities of this IEM is, again, next level. So I guess if I had to kind of summarize this, you know, the IEM, or at least my experience with the Odin, this is my favorite IEM ever. This thing, it literally took me to a whole other space in listening to music and just being immersed in the music that I've never experienced before. So the Odin, again, it's one of those things where I might just go sell my kidney and buy one of these. Now, okay, let's talk about the Hero quickly, because I'm running out of time. I went way longer than I expected. The Hero, actually, again, I didn't spend as much time with this as I wanted to, but one thing I want to make sure I touch on the Hero is the bass, and you can see the face plate there. Really nice IEM. I like it. Almost has kind of a marble look to it. It's pretty cool. Oh, and just real quick, these are both comfortable. Isolation is good. The tips, the final E, the Type E tips they give you are great with these. The cable on the Odin is really good. I don't want to take it out. Cable on the Hero is good. But anyway, just wanted to say that real quick. And the packaging, the unboxing experience is really good also. Packaging is really, really nice. Case is awesome. It has like this, they each have these metal cases that are really nice. Okay, back to the Hero. So the Hero, the thing that struck me about the Hero was the bass. This also uses a single Weapon 9 Plus dynamic driver for bass, and then 3 BAs for the mids and the highs. So the bass on the Hero, this is definitely what I would consider a bass head IEM. The bass levels on the Hero are they're pretty, the bass is pretty elevated. Now, but here's the thing, like the Odin, the texture, the detail, the that engaging attribute of the just mainly on the lower end here is present. These Weapon 9 Plus dynamic drivers are just they're incredible. Now when you get up into the mids are pretty recessed on the Hero, and the treble is a little bit interesting too. So the bass is forward, really forward. You've got pretty recessed mids, and then when you get into the lower, like upper mids, lower treble, you have a peak at, is it 2K, 6K, and 8K. So you've got this, it's kind of an interesting tuning they've got going on in the treble. And I did notice right away that the treble was pushed a little forward for my personal tuning preference. And the mids were a little too recessed. There was still lots of good detail retrieval. And as far as overall technical capabilities of this IEM, it's really, really good. There just seemed like, I don't know if it was just the amount of elevation that made some cymbals could come across as a little bit too splashy. The percussions, the snare, the tom strikes, some of the, like even like some of when the pick strikes the string on it, it didn't sound super natural to me. I can't really explain it other than to say it just, as far as the overall tuning, it was good. It was still a fun experience with the Hero. The bass was really just excellent slam, really good punch, good detail, good extension. Mids are a little too recessed, but still lots of clarity. And then the treble is elevated. So mids a little too recessed, treble a little too elevated. But if you're looking for a V-shape, a higher end, high performance V-shape IEM, this is that. This definitely will throw down with the best of them. So now, and I was gonna do a comparison with my UM. I just got this. I was wanting to do just a little bit of a sound comparison with my Mess, and I also recently picked up the OG Campfire Solaris, which I absolutely love. This actually has the same driver configuration as the Hero, so I wanted, even though this is an older IEM, I still kind of wanted to do a little bit of a comparison there just for fun. But unfortunately, I don't have time, other than to say, I will say, of the three, of the Campfire Solaris and the Mest, so far, and I've only had the Mest for about 3 days. I've had the Campfire Solaris for about a month now, and had the 2020 Andro before that. Wish I still would have had that. That would have been also just fun to kind of compare. One thing about the 2020 Andro was that was another thing that had a really immersive kind of experience. So the sound filled and the imaging and the again, almost a holographic quality to it. So really incredible, the 2020 Andromeda. So that would have been kind of fun comparing, if I would have been able to do a comparison with that with the Odin, just for the holographic kind of aspect of it. So anyway, so I really would have liked to have been done a detailed comparison of the Hero with the Campfire Andromeda, but I just don't have the time. Again, other than to say, of the three, of the Mest, this is the OG Mest, by the way. This is MK1, not the new one, not the MK2. I wish it was. But my Mest is the favorite. Although I do like the treble of the Solaris. So the Hero, although it's a well-tuned V-shape IEM with good technicalities and awesome bass, I would still prefer either of these over the Hero. So, but the Odin was, again, we're talking next level sound, something I've never experienced before. This thing, the faceplate is beautiful. The design is beautiful. There we go. So, again, apologies for having to do the video this way. I hope it's not too irritating. I know I said I wasn't going to hold these in front of the camera, and I ended up holding in front of the camera, and they were probably blurry the whole time, so I apologize. But I had to put a video out because the experience I had with the Odin was just something I've never experienced before. You know, as part of this tour, I've got to listen to the Vision Ears Earl Conic. That was a pretty recent one. The Noble Sultan, the Vision Ears Elysium VE8, the Fur Audio. We had the full lineup of the Fur Audio, the M3, M4, M2, M3, M4, and M5, and the M5 was incredible. Of all of those IEMs that I've listened to, and there's some other ones, the Odin has, I think, left the biggest impression on me. There's still a lot of IEMs out there that I haven't heard. I haven't even heard the U12T yet. I want to hear that. Man, I used to own one of the 64 Audio. It was the U12 Adele version. So I had a few different modules, but I had the Adele module. So that was the older version of the U12T. That was a pretty good IEM, but it had some BA timbre issues. Anyway, so that's the only U12T I've heard, or U12 I've heard. So I haven't heard the U12T. I haven't heard the Sony, the Z1R, I think is what it is. So there's lots of higher end legendary IEMs that I haven't had a chance to experience. I'm hoping someday that I can. But of the God tier level IEMs I have heard, I will say that the Odin is appropriately named, and in my book, this is the King of Kings. This is the God IEM, God level experience in the Odin. So, Empire Ears, you knocked it out of the park. This thing is awesome. This is a vacation I don't want to come home from. And again, I might just sell some organs to move there. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm hoping I can actually put some videos out that I normally do my regular formatting on in the next couple of months. Again, things are busy right now, but things generally have been pretty busy in my life. So it's a little bit tougher for me to find time to do video reviews. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm not gonna stop, but there might be more time in between videos than what you're used to. I tried to put out about a video about once a week or every 2 weeks initially, but I've had to just kind of slow down a little bit. So as I participate in the Audio Tiers tours, I will do my best to also, if I can't do a full-on produced video, I will at least do this. I am also, by the way, I am going to be doing a full written review with the Odin, and I'll be posting that in my Facebook group, Audioinreviews Facebook group, and a few other groups also on HeadFi. So, all right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm glad I at least had a chance to share my experience with the Odin, even if it is in my car. You guys have an awesome day. We'll see you again soon.